Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome Miss Neetu Jawle to this SheSight Magazine's She Power Podcast series.
First of all, what is your relationship with yourself? They say that marriage is going to fix all your problems. So I don't think it does. It does. I think it escalates more if we are not ready for it. I think we should talk about people in general. It should not be like, whether a woman should work, how she should work, how many hours she should work, how many hours she should put in her house.
Yeah.
It's more about, having a balanced relationship with whomsoever you're in. It cannot be a generic thing. Pause and reflect in a day for your own self. We cannot just be running, chasing one thing from another. Sometimes you have to just sit and take a break, and maybe you have to just go a step back and see. Talks to you in a way which you can't understand sometimes. NLP is a way to tell your brain, okay, this is how it can be, and it can reframe, it can rewire you.
Welcome to SheSight Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. CV, and here we dive into real stories of women who are making an impact, women who inspire, innovate, and lead change in their fields. SheSight is a platform that amplifies women's voices, celebrates their journeys, and builds a strong community of empowerment and growth. Before I welcome today's podcast guest, I'm so delighted to announce the launch of a newest initiative from SheSight Global, which is called the SheSpeakers.com. Women with extraordinary expertise are everywhere, but on most stages, they remain invisible. She Speakers changes that. A curated platform where brilliant women leaders, entrepreneurs, academics, and changemakers get discovered, listed, and booked for speaking opportunities they deserve. If you organize events, She Speakers is your go-to for voices that truly represent the world. And if you are a woman with a story and a stage to claim, this is your space. Find your speaker, claim your stage. Visit www.shespeakers.com today. Today's guest is Neetu Jawle. She's the founder of True Calling, an ICF certified life coach and certified NLP practitioner who helps people become the best version of themselves through relationships that add real meaning to their lives. Her journey began 10 years ago when she chose to rewrite her own story instead of accepting society's rigid templates for how relationships should look, and went on to build a coaching practice to help others do the same using her own tools. She started her career as an engineer and later went on to take up a job in finance. And guess what? Much later, she decided that her true calling is to launch the True Calling. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome Miss Neetu Jawle to this SheSight Magazine's She Power Podcast series. She's also one of our eminent She Power Club member. Hi Neetu, so wonderful to meet you, and I really love the fact that you are wearing red and black, which is matching to the SheSight branding. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's get started with the wonderful conversation that I'm already super excited with what we are going to talk about, because I think this is a very important topic, and this is something which normally in most of the cultures, especially in India, we just take it for granted. We don't talk
Yeah.
or take it as a professional thing to talk about, and that's a relationship. So maybe we'll start with that, how your day looks like when you are a relationship coach.
So relationship, like I see it in a way that first of all, what is your relationship with yourself? I start my day like that, I get up at around between 5 and 6 in the morning. I spend couple of hours with myself. I do some practices which are mostly for my own self, for my own, like how I'm going to spend my day, what is the intention of my day. So that's how it starts. And then the first half of the day goes to my family, where I take care of my home, I take care of my, family. And then second half goes to the office, like where I take care of my clients. So it's kind of a balanced day, like where I'm performing all my roles bit by, somewhere I'm like, I'm a homemaker. Sometimes I'm a coach. Sometimes I'm somebody who is just taking care of herself only. So this is how it goes.
I think when it comes to a relationship, women need not be trained or coached because we are naturally relationship managers in most of the
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
That actually brings me the question of, how, especially when you talk about society's expectations and rigid templates for relationship, what are the most common ones that you see, and why do they actually tend to fail people?
So generally, one thing I always feel, is redundant now is that they say कि marriage is going to fix all your problems.
Mm.
So I don't think it does. It does. I think it escalates more if we are not ready for it and if we are not for it.
Yeah.
Like it's not a permanent thing which is going to work for all. Like suppose if you have a factory of shoes and you're making a seven size for all adults and you're telling them to fit in. Okay, everybody doesn't have a shoe size of seven. Like, somebody has a eight, somebody has a nine, somebody has a six probably.
Mm.
But we are giving them one shoes, like you have to fit in. But then they start believing, they don't really feel the bruises are because of the shoes. They start blaming themselves, like, they are not really fitting into the shoe.
This is exactly the societal expectations or the rigid templates that we spoke about, where I think it's the same that goes when you say that, okay, now that you're married, have a child, and then all your problems will be sorted.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
next problem.
yes, yeah. So it multiplies and you don't know what to do a thing about it. Yeah.
Hi, did you know that you can actually listen to wonderful podcasts from SheSight through the SheSight mobile app? Yes, you heard it right. You can now download the SheSight mobile app on both Apple as well as Android phones. And guess what? Not just the podcast, you also get to read the latest She news across the globe. And more importantly, this is entirely free for you. Go check out and download the app today. So as a coach, how do you encounter, or when you encounter these kinds of when you clearly can see that one of your client is having issues, how do you navigate that situation? How do you help them realize it and understand it? What is the method that you use? Let's take the case of this someone who comes to you needing, I mean, they are basically, they don't know what they want, but basically you can see as a coach that something is problematic in their relationship.
So first of all, the idea is to listen to the person because we all say we hear you,
Mm.
and hearing is different than listening. Listening is more about, it's more about the other person. It's not about us or anything else. You create a safe space for them where they feel heard.
Yeah.
They feel, they can, it's a non-judgmental space where they don't find it everywhere, because if you speak at home, if you speak with colleagues, friends, there's still going to be some judgment, some, opinion which is going to come across. But what we try to do is, it's a very non-opinionated space where you can just be yourself
Mm.
and speak whatever you know, whatever you want to, and you are not being judged about it. So that's the fundamentally first thing we do, to create a safe space for them. Once that is done, then they are willing to explore more, and then you take them to the awareness part of it. Are they really aware of what's going on?
Mm.
Are they conditioned? Are they strictly conditioned how they are seeing things? So once that awareness comes into the picture, they go through few sessions where we take care of the all, how they are treating themselves, how they are looking at themselves.
Yeah.
Then the action part comes into picture, and it's a very long process. It's not a small thing, it just comes with the first, knowing them better, then making them realize about certain things, then making them aware about certain steps, and then taking action accordingly. And
Mm.
then after that, you have to be accountable for their actions and everything.
Mm.
So it's a complete process, where you start with just sharing and end up being, somebody who can take care of himself or herself in the end.
When you say that taking care of oneself, I think that's where we even spoke earlier about
Yeah.
relationship with self. I think,
Mm.
uh, and in your process, when you start with that early stage awareness and helping one understand the relationship with self, I'm pretty sure not everyone will be able to handle that. have you come across clients or people who are unable to process it, and still they would still want to go back to their problematic uh, areas?
Yes, yeah. You're right, absolutely. Not one. Everybody wants that, you know. Everybody wants to be in a comfort zone. Everybody wants to be in a familiar place. Nobody wants to go in an unfamiliar or, you know, uncharted territory
Mm,
because they are not aware what's going to be there. You know, it's like your identity, you know, like if I tell, you know, I'm in India right now. I'm familiar with Indian environment, Indian food and everything. All of a sudden you put me in somewhere in Zimbabwe, you know, you will tell me, no, now you have to go on your own, you have to figure out things on your own. So it's that kind of scare, you know, what clients feel like, okay, I was familiar with this, whatever it belonged to me.
yeah.
Why are you putting me in a different direction? But then if you have to grow, if you have to change, if you have to see things happening
Mm,
in for yourself, for, you know, if it has to, you know, really work for you, then there's change is the only constant here. Like you have to change your methodologies, you have to change the way you think, you have to
mm.
change the processes, you have to change the way you look at things. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, exactly. Unless we change your identity and change your outlook, you cannot change the outcomes. This I'm asking because I've seen so many women who are stuck in toxic relationships in the name of marriage, and they are not able to come out of it because of so many reasons, right? Like maybe the children, maybe the societal, maybe they are afraid of their own parents or mother-in-laws or whatever. So, how does one navigate that kind of a situation? As a coach, do you have any suggestions to anyone in a sort of a toxic relationship?
What you said is right, you know, when you belong to a certain way, because see, fundamentally we are conditioned. A
Mm,
woman is always conditioned that she has to be part of the family. She has to become part of the family. Like the family is never told that, you know, you have to adjust yourself according to the new member. The new member has to adjust according to the family. And
mm,
she is like kind of transported to a new environment where everything is new for her, everything is scary for her. It also comes from the background you come from,
mm,
like who are your parents, who what is your family, you know, how they are supporting you. That also comes into the picture because generally in India, you know, even if the family is always behind you, but they are not very vocal about it. They
mm.
don't say, okay, you can take a dive in and we are there for you. Like,
Yeah.
because we are conditioned in a certain way, because families are conditioned in a certain way that like once you are married, then you're married forever. You can't come back. You can come back as a daughter, as a guest, not like a permanent member, like that way.
Yeah. Mm,
So, coming back to your question, like, yes, there is a need to, be a little flexible about the, laws and the flexible about the rules we actually force them to follow.
mm,
But at the same time, if women, I think a woman is capable of handling anything and everything because we are also like trained right from the beginning to, face every situation. So if you see it from a positive context, not because, like we have to just break all the relations and go and run away from this. It
mm,
can be a problem anywhere else also. It's not a relationship problem. It's not a family problem. It is something, how do you deal in a situation when situation is not in your favor? Like, there can be multiple layers to it, but at the same time, how are you seeing it as, like, is it a personal thing? Is it something, you really want to overcome? Is it something, you really want in your, there are a lot of questions about that situation, or, in a crisis you are, like, what is bringing that crisis? Like, how much is who responsible? Like, you cannot get into a blame game. We
mm,
make it very easy to say it's a toxic relationship. It may just be an unhealthy relationship, or it may be something you are not very good at communicating with each other. So
mm,
we just label everything as toxic, which is not working in your favor.
Okay.
So
Mm,
every relationship cannot be a toxic relationship. It can, it has various shades.
mm,
Like it depends how much you are really invested in that relation, how much you are really ready to give that relationship. So when we say relationship, we always expect the other person is going to do something for us.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a good relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't see relationship as what are we giving to the relationship? What is our role in the relationship? How are we contributing in a relationship? It cannot be always, like I am being treated like a baby in a relationship all the time. Sometimes I have to grow up as an adult and I have to show up as an adult.
Mm.
So that's where I see like there are a lot of shades. You cannot just put it in a one. It's not a binary. It's not a good or bad or, a
Correct.
good or toxic relationship. It's just, which shade you're in that. There are multiple shades over there.
That's an interesting perspective. I think so when you look at the general the whole concept of relationship psychology and the evolution of how we are being more aware about the relationship dynamics these days. When you look at maybe my mother's generation or my grandmother's generation, there was no relationship coaching, there was no relationship advice or anything like that. The only thing is probably, you know, you are a woman, you should get married and then go, your husband is the God, that's it. And
Yeah.
just, do whatever they say and your life is all settled. And but compared to that, the as we move forward, today's generation, as well as I would say the next generation, which is Gen Z generation, they are even more demanding when it comes to relationships. So, when your coaching practice, have you noticed this differences in expectations? Because especially because you spoke about expectations now, have you noticed this differences in expectations in different generation and age group of women and
Yeah.
men?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I completely agree on one front that there are changes, there are different expectations. But when you come to our parents' side, they were given a very concise and very, very to the point
Mm,
kind of a checklist or a protocol that they were supposed to follow. They were not allowed to see beyond that. It was a very concise form, and
mhm,
they were given the roles. Everybody was given a role.
mm,
So the mother had to take care of the house and the kids, and the father had to take care of.
mm,
But if you have asked individually to your mom or dad, were they really happy doing that? Were they
mm.
always, in love with each other? I don't know what the answer would be. Probably answer would not be yes all the time. They would say, like,
Yeah.
they feel, we didn't do a lot of things what you guys are doing. The Gen Zs are more aware of what they are doing, what they want in their life. They are not like choosing, they're not taking what we are giving to them. They
Mm,
are first checking whether it's for them or not.
mm.
And then they are accepting, and they are also making it more customized to themselves.
Yeah.
And which is I think I don't think there's anything wrong in that, because as far as you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your own mental and physical health,
Mm.
and that's how it will, how you'll see the other things outside of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Shruti, and I've got something truly exciting to share. The Fly High Women Awards 2026 is here, and this year we're taking it to an entirely new level. We're honoring women who build boldly, who innovate, create jobs, uplift their communities, and rise even when the world expects them to stay small. Whether you're a micro business owner, a creative entrepreneur, a tech founder, or driving social impact, there's a category just for you. Nominations are officially open. Don't wait. Share your story. Put your work out there. You never know who you might inspire. Tap the link, explore the categories on our website, and send in your nomination today.
Okay, so now we spoke about women in difficult relationship, and then we also spoke about the new generation and their expectations. I'm also interested to know about, is there any a specific pattern for ambitious and driven women? For example, someone like me. Have you seen the specific pattern in your coaching practice? Have you dealt with such women, and what are
Yes,
their main
absolutely.
challenges? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a very close to my heart question,
Mm.
because they are always dysfunctional, they are over functional, they are always wanting to prove that they are better.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not that they are not, they are definitely good at everything and they don't need to prove this,
Mm.
but they have been conditioned, like, because so like we see, like first we talked about patriarchy, now we talk about feminism, like I think we should talk about people in general.
Mm.
It should not be like, whether a woman should work, how she should work, how many hours she should work, how many hours she should put in her house.
Yeah.
It's more about, having a balanced relationship with whomsoever you're in. It cannot be a generic thing.
Mm. Mm.
It cannot be one thing to everybody, because every relationship is different. Every individual is different. Every partner is different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, coming back to your question, yes, they are very over functional. They
Mhm.
are always performing, they're always micromanaging. What they do at office, they try to do at home, because
Mm.
most of the time they are in the office.
Mm.
Like what you do for 10 hours in a day, you can't change that another 2 3 hours in a day.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So it's not possible for you. We are not robots. Like we can just kind of switch, or we make a mental switch inside of us, and then we switch. And
Mm.
it will not come so naturally, because you're not in that environment.
Mm.
And relationships are your mirrors. You cannot perform there.
Oh.
So it is sad that women are going through this, but at the same time they also need to understand what they really really want. After 10 years, I don't want to say to myself, oh, I could have done this, I didn't do this.
Mm. True.
It's just not, we don't have to do everything what we are told to do.
Mm.
So it's
Interesting.
a personal choice. See, anybody can do anything. There's no two ways about that.
Mm.
So I welcome all the ways of living.
Mm.
I'm very open to that. But at the same time, whatever we choose, we have to take responsibility of that. We have to take ownership of that.
Correct.
So I think women can create great future for themselves. They are very career driven. They are really really good at what they do. But at the same time, it is okay to say that, "Ki, okay, I am not available at home. Yeah, I am not going to do at the
Mm.
same level of engagement is not going to happen at home. So please help me. Please adjust.
Mm.
Please, you can ask for help. You
Correct.
don't have to become the same checklist what you are at
Mm.
your office. So like it can't be a checklist at home. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I I love that, especially when you said you can't have the same checklist as your office at home. Yeah, it that's a valid point. And for example, when someone comes to you, do they come when they are facing distress, or do they come to you when they want to go to the next level? What is that, what is your eligibility for coaching?
The people, when they come to me, definitely they are in distress. Like, they don't come to me when they are okay. So they are going through something. They are not able to understand what is going through. Either they go into a blame game, or they go into a victim mode. It depends on how you are perceiving that situation to be.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, client is speaking and I'm listening. And there comes a point where we know we are a real fit for each other, and she needs me and I can help her.
Mm-hmm.
That is the motive of the discovery call.
Yeah.
So once I do that, so that it's a check-in, it's like a diagnosis kind of a thing in that discovery call. Like once we know like we are a right fit for each other, then we go ahead. Yeah.
So, when it comes to booking a coach, and if someone wants to actually do some kind of work on themselves, what should be the first thing? Like, should we just go ahead and book a coach, or should we do something on ourselves first, like make ourselves understand? Is there any exercise that you recommend before actually going into
Yeah,
coaching?
one thing I always tell people, like, whether they are my clients or they are not my clients, there's something called, you have to pause and reflect in a day for your
Mm-hmm.
own self. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot just be running, chasing one thing from another. Sometimes you have to just sit and take a break, and maybe you have to just go a step back and see
Yeah.
how did it look like, till now. Do I need to pause? Do I need to just stay put for a while? Like there are certain reminders we need, and but definitely you can do a journaling is a very good habit, where you can have a certain set of questions which you can answer every day. Like you can also say what are you grateful for today? That's something very, where you can start with a positive thing. Why do you have to start with something which you're not happy with? And then you can say what was the most beautiful thing which happened today?
Mm,
And what was not so beautiful which happened today? What could have been better? So
mm.
these are simple ways to, just pause and reflect, and who you are as a person, what do you do in terms of, situations, like how do you see yourself, how do you react or do you respond? It's a
Mm,
very simple distinction, but most of the people fail to understand there's a huge difference between a reaction and a response.
mm.
Reaction is always when you take things personally, and
Correct.
it's a more emotional, response.
Mm.
But response is mostly, like where you understand, you try, you see things in a distance, and then you evaluate, and then you speak about it.
I love this conversation because personally for me also I've undergone a lot of transformation in my life, and where this whole concept of a response versus a react, and I was a
Yeah.
very very hyper reactive person. I take things for emotionally, I take things personally. I've lost so many relationships, I mean so many relationship, even professional relationship because of that. So but nowadays, maybe that's a part of our maturing and evolution. I guess I'm more. I don't know. I would like to call myself a little more responsible when it comes to reacting to situation. So I think every person in their life journey undergoes some kind of a transformation because of certain situations, right? And sometimes when we
Yeah.
are in that situation, we might think that, oh my God, this is, why does it happen to me? This is hell. This is, I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't like myself, whatever. But maybe after once we are able to, as you said, once you have that awareness and able to understand ourselves better, I guess when you are out of it, you look back, you will feel that yes, because of that I've become like this. And again, when people say that when they undergo very serious trauma or difficult things in their life, that's when your life is actually going to the, you have two options: either you go down or you go up spiral.
I feel if you go through difficult times, that is the where kind of, when you say you grow out,
Mm.
you grow from there. You
Yeah.
don't go from very pleasant places. You don't grow from, when you're very happy in life. You don't grow from where you're partying. So I believe I would not say trauma, but there is certain discomfort needs to be there to take you out from that comfort zone.
Absolutely. So when you come to, so imagine if someone doesn't have any trauma in their life, touch wood, that's what everybody wants. Um, and someone still wants to grow to the next step. Do you recommend that there should be some amount of
Yes.
discomfort in order to go to the next step?
Created certain modules, certain, tools from my side, where it has come from purely from observation and experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I believe there are like 4 5 stages in a relationship, or in a relationship itself, like whether you're in a survival stage or
Yeah.
you're like a thriving, there's a
Mm.
there are 2 3 layers to 3 stages to it, like, I would say, like, for growth, I don't say you have to go through some discomfort all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are naturally driven towards growth. They can, they are so ambitious. They are so purpose driven. They can do anything if they are very clear about in their mind.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a discomfort, or you were talking about some incident happened in you, so that transforms you.
Yeah.
Why that transforms you? Because you have not given a pause to yourself. You have not thought so much about your own self till then. That incident or that event became a trigger who you are really as a person inside of you. So
Yeah.
that trigger made you do certain, actions,
Mm.
and those actions will take you where you really want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's a lot to process. Let me again take you back to the frameworks because you mentioned about your own assessments and frameworks. But I also noted that you are an NLP practitioner, and tell us a little bit about NLP, especially NLP versus the regular psychology. The scientific side of it. There is a still people. Some people believe in it. Some people do not believe in it.
Yeah.
So, what is your take on it? How do you distinguish the credible, techniques versus some random methods?
I have studied NLP, and there are certain tools. It's an instrument, I would say. Like life coaching is more broader.
Yeah.
Like if I take on, like I have to achieve a goal, so I know I have to travel to a certain distance, to a certain degree, and to a certain pace to it. So whatever comes in between, NLP can be an instrument to navigate me to reach my final goal. So
Mm,
they have it has it's a toolkit, it's like kind of it's it contains a language where you can talk to your brain, like
yeah.
your brain talks to you in a way which you can't understand sometimes. NLP is a way to tell your brain, okay, this is how it can be, and it can reframe, it can rewire you.
Mm, mm,
So it helps in, like, rewiring what your neurology says at that point of time.
mm,
And more so, I would say, to make it simpler, like, um, NLP is like having a plant in your home,
mhm,
and it was how is it growing, how much water it needs, how much sunlight it needs.
mm,
If there are weeds, you have to take it out. It's more specific, it's more, like, it takes you from one step to another, it shows the path. So the techniques are very user friendly. It's not like very rocket science or anything.
mm.
You can do those in mindfulness exercises also.
For someone who is totally new to NLP and someone who is hearing this word NLP, NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. And explain or give us one technique. Maybe, let's try one technique.
Yeah, so there's something called mirroring. When you want to be, like, you want to associate yourself with the other person, you want to make the other person comfortable, and you
Yeah.
can just mirror what the person is saying.
Mm,
Okay. Then you can pace yourself with the other person,
yeah.
till you actually eventually you can lead the also other person, but it has to be a very gradual and a slow process. So where it's not agenda driven, it's just being in that space. And there's something more called anchoring also, where like you can anchor yourself with something.
Mm,
If you want to experience something which has happened in the past, you can go back and you can attach yourself with some physical, maybe you just press your thumb and
mm,
go back to that thought, and you just experience the same kind of experience what you had. It's like, it's a muscle memory, you can just create those memories for you. So there are a lot
mm.
of, I think they
So
have.
that is really useful. So let's say um, I am getting into a stage for public speaking, and I'm nervous of getting, speaking,
Yes,
for example.
ask me.
Yeah, and I'm nervous of speaking. So, so the NLP technique is probably before you get into the stage, or maybe even much before
Yes,
that, you are
yes,
programming your mind in a way that
yes,
anytime let's say, I touch my thumb, I get the confidence,
yeah,
or something like that. Is it like that? Am I right
yeah.
or wrong?
Yeah, it's setting an intention. How do you set an intention? It's like that, how you reprogram your mind. So,
Mm,
like, even if you have said, if you're up, like, I'm not confident about it, this is a story I have told myself. It's not really true.
mm,
I have been confident. I can be confident. It's not a permanent state. And anything we tell to ourselves is a temporary state, and it's a temporary story, and you can replace that story.
yeah, yeah.
Like if you tell a child, like, if dark, don't go into the dark,
Mm,
and child will get scared, and he will be permanently scared till you show him another aspect of, look, okay, look at the dark, look at the sky, it has got stars also. So he will start seeing dark in a different way. Then he'll not get scared in the dark.
Correct, correct. So you
So it's just,
associate your negative emotions or fears with
yeah,
or replace it with some positive
yes,
emotions,
yes,
and
yes, yes,
whenever you want that positive thing, you trigger it with a technique, and that's what NLP
yes,
therapy is
yes,
doing. Yeah. Okay,
yes, yeah.
that's great.
Uh-huh.
So you apply these kinds of good techniques on your on your clients and help them achieve whatever they want to achieve in their life, right? That's what
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
primary work is.
Not every time, yes. Whenever I feel it's the need of the art, then I do.
Mm.
I try to keep my coaching very simple. It's more like on a behavioral level. It's more
Mm.
like, what is your belief system about things? It's again,
Yeah.
it's a story what you have told to yourself. So
Mm.
we try to disrupt those beliefs which are not working for you, and then
Mhm.
we try to have the new ones, and we
Yeah,
try to practice those ones, and so that you become independent of, like, after you go from the engagement. Once you finish the engagement, then you don't need me anymore, that kind of a thing. So you
absolutely.
have all the
So
tools in your kitty. Yeah.
yeah, so that means, what does success look like you with a client? Like, how do you define when the client is actually done, and enough of my coaching, now you are done. So what is
Yeah,
that
when they
success
don't need
metric?
me anymore, when they don't
Yeah.
need me anymore, like I feel, like it is possible as early as possible. Like I say, 3 to 6 months, but because that is scientifically the time when you
Mm.
need to build new habits and to make them a lifestyle. So it's minimum 90 days, but yeah, I just give them another 90 days to make it happen. Once they do it, then they are all on their own. Like they know what is the trajectory, what is the
Right.
path, how to do it. Because I just want to more like it's becoming more independent than rather becoming dependent on me all the time.
Correct. Absolutely.
Why we have a discovery call? So that we understand each other. It's
Yeah.
a choice we bring on the table from
Mm.
both sides.
Okay.
It's not something I enforce on them.
Mm.
So every session is not about enforcing something. Every session is about making them aware about certain things and
Yeah.
giving them a tool
Mm-hmm.
to make it work for themselves. So,
Yeah.
and then we have a daily practice of supporting the clients, following up with the clients every day and whatever they stuck. So we don't leave them. We kind of get married to them for 3 months,
Mhm.
6 months, and we take care of them.
Yeah.
So the possibility, like leaving them, it's not really likely. It has not happened so much so okay that I need to talk about it. But yeah, it is possible. What you're saying, it is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've heard this from other coaches. That's why I was asking. Anyway, so since you casually dropped the word marriage, I'm again coming back to one last question, which is related to
Yeah.
relationship and finding your right partner. So what is that, question? Is there a one question or maybe five questions that every person should be asking to a potential partner before we actually commit to each other?
I would say two questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I said. One or
So
five
the
or
two
50.
questions would. So we are two people, so two questions. Like I
Mm-hmm.
would say, like what in case of any like disappointment or any unhealthy circumstances or any event which has not been in your favor,
Mm-hmm.
what would that person do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next question would be, if I am at the same place, would he treat me the same way, the way he's treating himself?
Mm.
So it also adds up the way he is treating himself. Is he really taking care of himself? Is he really, what is his self love? What is his relationship with self? If he has a relationship self, then only he can have a relationship with me, a healthy relationship with me. So
Mm.
it kind of gives a pre-check, that where is he placed
Mm.
as, as far
Interesting.
as his, yeah, relationship.
Yeah, the sad part is that I think now it is changing, but even during my early days of getting married and other things, we never had this questioning or, everything was like the family decides, that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and even if there is a sort of a relationship, there is no intentional questioning before you actually finalize a relationship. That way, I would say I'm right now exposed much to the Western world. I live in a different country, so obviously I've seen a lot of the Western culture. Um, there are people who say that the Western culture is bad, Indian culture is the best. I'm not secluding or saying anything like that. But on certain aspects, I do find that in the Western culture, the concept of dating and being together for at least a few years before actually getting married is something of value because during that time you get to know each other better, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, you just leave and then find someone else if it works. So that flexibility is something which probably certain cultures do not allow even now. I think again, having said that, I think right now the Gen Zs and the next generation is more flexible when it
yeah.
comes to these kinds of relationship and decision capabilities. Um, one last question again connected to this aspect is about compatibility, right? Is there any myth about compatibility? I've heard that okay, opposites attract, and then you have to be similar. So what is actually right? Is there a compatibility metrics?
I don't think there is any metrics. The metrics is like you have to show up every day, like come what may. If you really want to build a relationship, like there has to be some consistency in what you do. And compatibility is not how similar you are. Like I think it's like those river stones, like they are together and they are rough edged and they are still together, and then over a period of time they kind of fit into each other.
Mm.
Like, it's a process. It's not a one technique thing or one thumb rule thing. It's just a process. How you process that process is also very important. Yeah.
Ah, that is a wonderful closure, Neetu. I really love that part. Thank you so much once again for joining. And for our audience who wants to get in touch with you and get your advice on their relationship, whatever stage they are, whether before relationship, after relationship, or middle of a relationship, I think you would be a right coach for helping them navigate the next step. How can people get in touch with you? Tell us more about your company, your office, etc.
So we are placed in Goregaon in Mumbai, Goregaon East, and we have like I was not in social media some for many years. I recently started, and they can get in touch with. We can share the handles.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook is there, so they can go. They can contact us from there, and they can contact directly. The number is also available. Yeah,
Okay,
so
perfect.
they can contact us. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
so we'd love to. Yeah.
This was
Thank you so
really
much. It was
inspiring.
really,
Yeah, inspiring as well as, again, as I said, this is the first time we have a relationship coach on our podcast, and I'm hoping that we have more of such interesting conversations. Before I close, the whole concept of Sheep Our Club is where we are looking at supporting women in a wholesome life. So it's not just about
yes.
building a career, it's about having a good relationship, having, a good
Yes.
financial setup. So
Yeah.
we want our women to follow or rather have a wholesome life. So all the members of our Shipper Club will be getting these kinds of exposure and opportunities to understand more about themselves in this manner. And I think as an expert who belongs to our club, it will be valuable for your services or your contacts and your connects would be valuable for all our members and even beyond. So, absolute pleasure having you on board. And yeah, we will continue to have the conversations there. Thank you so much. Wish you all the very
Thank you
best.
so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really pleasure talking to you. I mean, like, I was still a little apprehensive about it in the beginning, because of the health reasons. I was not sure about it. But then I think I had a great conversation. I really like the flow. I really like the way you take care of things, and it's more human
Thank
than like professional. Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Neetu. That's exactly what we are like. As women, we are more, we bring the feminine and nurturing character and quality to everything that we do. Thank you so much once
Yeah.
again, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Before you move on to the next video, I have a request to make. If you like this video and this podcast, if you gained some valuable information out of this video, I would request you to click on the subscribe button as well as follow us on our social media pages. The links are given in our description. Also, do sign up to our website, www.shesightmag.com. We have amazing women stories as well as various women initiatives that are getting launched in the coming months. I'll see you there.